Good morning, pregame crew. We will get started in 5 minutes. Audio visual check, please. It is Monday, August 2nd. It is 8:25 Eastern. I'm Chart Gal Lori. We will get started in just a bit and we will prep for the day for about 20-25 minutes or so. And TCGers, you'll jump on over at 9 a.m. Eastern and listen to Dan the Charting Man get us kicked off for Monday as well. Hello's Widow Puppy, Veronica. John, hi Nathan, thank you for joining us. Kumar, 1988 All Natural. And Tamazon, hey Roger. Awesome, good and clear. Hey Jared. Get started in just a bit. If you're interested, I hope you're interesting too, but if you're interested in my chart setup, it is on the screen now. I use tradingview.com for my charting. I personally use thinkorswim for my trading. Tons of platforms out there that work well for trading, like Fidelity, like Interactive Brokers, but I choose TD Ameritrade and thinkorswim, just so you know. And if you're interested in my setup, here's what all the indicators that I have on my screen are. Hi Leanne and Malik. It's interesting for you regulars, if you look at the count of who is live, the maximum count, Friday was our largest show. Why? Because we had some fear enter the market. It's pretty interesting how we have people that want education when the market is pulling back and consolidating, but when the markets are raging bull, nobody needs any TA. Not nobody, I'm generalizing, but you know what I mean. It's just an interesting phenomenon that I am paying attention to. Hi, Tom. P. Court, I really appreciate y'all, and was going to say his name, 1988, All Natural, thank you. I can say your name, Matt. Hey, Brian, welcome. The market is setting up. Interesting. I'm not going to say it's setting up strong or bearish. I want to keep a neutral brain this morning, and then we'll kind of lay out the path as to if the market takes on a direction, a strong direction, we'll have a path in order to follow it. We are in Fangover week. Fangover, meaning Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Apple, we are having, and Microsoft, the big tech earnings last week, and this week we're kind of in a hangover, a Fangover, where the market is digesting what happened last week and picking a direction from what happened last week. But those are big names. They carry the market a ton, but we do have 1,279 names reporting this week. And Friday, we have our July jobs number, which will be reported Friday at 8:30 Eastern. So last week was huge. We had FOMC plus all those earnings. Well, this week is even huger. That's not really a word, but you know what I mean. Lots of stuff happening this week as well. So we just trade the price action. It keeps our nose nice and clean and keeps things set up very nicely for us. Hey, John and Don, Plant Powered Zulu, Wubinka. Hi, I see some new names this morning. Welcome. We're glad you found us, however you found us. Did anybody do anything fun over the weekend while we wait 2 more minutes before we get started? Did you do anything fun? Did you have any good crypto trades this weekend? Ain't it, Widow Puppy? Hey, Davy Baby. Davy Baby, Rising Star in TCG. We got lots of Rising Stars in TCG, though. Hey, Relic. Everything is good. It's a beautiful day to be alive. I love the beginning of the year, the beginning of a quarter, the beginning of a month, even the beginning of a week for fresh starts. I'm all about fresh starts and resetting the brain. I like the way it makes my brain feel. And so this is the first day of August. It happens to be, it's August 2nd, but the first trading day of the month. It happens to coincide with a Monday. Love that. What did I do this weekend? Besides having fun with the hubby, I rewrote all my trading rules. I went over my trading rules and I tweaked them. I don't know if any of you listened to Caleb Dressel, the diver. He had an interview with NBC this weekend. He's 24 years old. It was a mind-bending interview, and I found so many trading correlations with it. I'll go over it real quickly. We're at the time to start, but he had 2 journals every day. He journals in 2 separate journals, one about his swimming, his splits, his goals, his times, what he needs to work on, how he felt in the water, and he keeps those journals and he will never throw them away. Then he has a journal about how he feels, who made him laugh, who upset him, what went well personally in the day, what didn't go well. If he's mad at his wife, he journals all that, and those he throws away. That Lincoln on Leadership actually is an amazing book, and that's how Abraham Lincoln led. He would write down a letter of everything that went bad personally and then just never mail the letter, and it just got it off his chest. As traders, I think that's something that we can really take a lot from and journal how we're doing, and let's document our journey. And some of you get to a point in a pinnacle where you don't need to journal anymore, but I know I'm still in the point in my journey where I need to journal, and I'm constantly tweaking and refining my process. So I'm Chart Gal Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community. We teach technical analysis. So we have the pregame show where I go over the Fab 4 futures, commodities, crypto, and movers and shakers of the morning. So the format is I talk for about 20 minutes and I go through 20 plus tickers in 20 minutes, and I try to drop a nugget where I can to try to help you on your journey as well. And then we have lots of awesome moderators in the YouTube chat room. So if you're a TCGer, jump on over in the YouTube chat room. Our mods are watching that, and I can't pay attention to the chat room until the very end. For me to rip through these names, I really got to stay focused on these charts so we can get through them. I try to answer a few requests at the end. So here's my chart setup. If you're interested, yellow and purple, 50 and 200 simple moving average, green and red, 8 and 21 EMA. Yellow candle JC inside bars. An inside bar, I got questions this weekend in TCG private messages. What's an inside bar? I go over this a lot. We use this a lot in TCG. Here's an inside bar setup. So and then the CM Ultimate RSI multi-time frame and TTM squeeze. I'm gonna delete all this. So here is an example of an inside bar. So what it is, it's like Russian nesting dolls where the price action nest within that mother range, and it's just a tightening pattern. Sometimes we get these tightening patterns, multiple inside bars in a row, then they can burst. So if we get this tightening range with multiple inside bars or an equilibrium, when it breaks bull, it can have nice explosive follow through, and same thing to the downside. An inside bar does not mean direction. It doesn't indicate the direction. The break of the following candle can indicate direction. I say can because it can pop up and then fall right back down. In this case, look, it ran into that prior resistance. So I share a lot with you about psychology. Why? Because it's one of the toughest parts of trading, and I think it's one of the most least talked about things in trading. We can talk about higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows, because that's black and white. That's very clear and objective. The psychology part, the toughest part about trading, is very subjective and hard to put your fingers touching. So I'm constantly trying to think of analogies to help y'all, and it helps me as well with the trading journey. So one thing that I like to think of trading is it's a video game. So think of this maze as an automated, kind of looks like Pac-Man, right? So it's a video game, and you're constantly trying to make it out of the maze, and you get stopped, turned around, you have a loss, you have to come back out. Okay, I'm going to try again. Oh, stop, going to try again. We're constantly trying to make it out of the maze, over to the island, over to freedom. Each point in the maze, I know this sounds real kooky, but just bear with me. Each part of the maze represents a part of your trading journey and something that you are personally struggling with. My maze looks totally different than yours. My video game looks totally different than yours. And once we figure out how to make it from the beginning of our journey and we conquer the video game, we make it to freedom, then we can start back at the front and just whip our way through the video game, and boom, we're good. So right here, we can just see it's like this. It is our personal video game and our personal journey. So if I am doing the maze, this is how I started. So I go here, let's say I pick this route, and then I end up at a dead end. That dead end may be self-sabotage, which was one for me. I don't know why I feared success, and I like to self-sabotage. Okay, then I go back to the beginning. All right, I'm going to try again. Okay, I end up at this dead end. What is that problem? Discipline. Okay, I got to work on discipline. Okay, Lori, go back to the start. Let's try again. Another one that I had is patience. Patience is an issue for me personally and in trading. Here's a dead end. Laura, you either work through that or you're going to keep getting game over in this video game of the trading journey. So each person's maze is very individualized to you and what you are struggling with and what your personal issues are. I read somewhere this weekend that trading is like having years and years of therapy like crammed into one thing, and it's so true. I like to think of it as a mirror. It's constantly reflecting back to me what's not working in my life, what I'm not doing well, and I constantly have to fix it and be a better person in order to be a better trading. And I can't think of another occupation that does this. So it's kind of like free therapy. It can be a painful journey, but once you learn how to conquer this video game and you're like, okay, fix that. I've got rules now. Is my patience fixed? No. But I have rules now that help me not get in trouble. Is my discipline fixed? 100%. No. But I have rules that I don't break those rules in order for me to stay in the video game. If not, you run out of lives and you're done. You're done trading. So thank you for bearing with me with this analogy that I may have taken too far, but it helped me explain to you that each journey is very individualized and you have to find your best path and conquer your personal hurdles. All right. Yes, Caleb Dressel. He was just amazing. Okay, we have a 2-hour cup and handle happening on ES right here. So cup and handle pattern is where you have typically you prefer to see a little bit more of a rounded bottom, and then you have a bull flag for the handle. Again, this isn't the ideal cup, this isn't the ideal handle, but sometimes you can get some perfect cup and handles and they're awesome, but a cup and handle is one of the most reliable patterns that we have. So what the bulls want to see is to get this candle up and over that 8 EMA, whatever your quick EMA is, the 12 or the 8, get a candle close above in order to recover this potential bull flag. So ES is up near the all-time high. The all-time high is here, 442250. So how far away are we from that? Wrong click right here. We are like 0.3% or less away from, wait, no, that's not right. 0.34, something like that, less than 1%, like way less than 1% away from the all-time high. So I shorted NASDAQ overnight. I shorted the NASDAQ overnight. I shorted this, let me show you. Can't believe I got rid of that. I am still in a short. I haven't been stopped out. We have to be very careful with these bulls showing up big. So I did micros. I was shorting this 0.618 and I was giving it until the 0.786 retracement. I put my stop at 1505725. I actually shared it in the TCG room and I did not get stopped out overnight. But this is looking very constructive for bulls. So now I'm going to be a little bit more protective of this bearish position I took overnight. My average is 15018. I also shared that in the futures room in TCG, but I'm going to be a little more protective because these bulls aren't rolling over and dying. And what I was looking at is not just the fib resistance, but on the 4-hour and the 12-hour, odds favor a lower high. Typically, you don't V-shape from a lower low up to a higher high. Odds favor that lower high. So that's what I was looking for. But right now, the bulls are showing up, and I'm not going to be pig-headed about this. So we have a 15-minute EQ on NASDAQ. You have resistance at 15033, 15045, support 14997, then 14993. So of our 4, RTY is bouncing the hardest, but RTY, I'm entering the same place y'all saw me last week. So last Monday, I said we had I think it was Monday, Adam and Eve daily reversal pattern. I backed off my IWM shorts. I let that bounce happen. So this is what we were watching last week. Just to remind you, we were watching this. Let that bounce happen, but we still have the 50 EMA flat overhead. Typically, that does not end well for the bulls when they go to tackle it that very first time. I would say this is the second time for them to tackle it, but definitely RTY is my name to pick on to the bearish side today. So beyond NASDAQ, which I have a short on, I also have a short on RTY. We have this little 15-minute EQ, ran into the underside of these downtrending EMAs. Your next resistance is up at 2241, 2247, 2232. How am I trading all this? Well, yesterday, when I look back at my trading log in my journal, I do better with alerts, because what happens is I'll open a chart and like, crap, I missed that great entry. I want to be as close to stops as possible, whether I'm shorting or going long. I want to be close to stops as possible. How to do that? Well, the best way to do that is to set alerts. So for me, I can use the notes. So when I set this clock and I set an alert, I can say resistance go short. Doesn't mean I'm going to go short or go long. It just means, hey, we're at a crucial level. I set alerts for my dad's portfolio, and it tells me what to do if I want to do it. I just go look at the chart. Is this a good time? Does it match up with the market? I'm not going to go short if market internals are pinging 1,000 tick, but it just gives me a great, you see this theta perp. I was trading that this weekend. So I am constantly setting alerts to make me a better trader and give me a better edge with better entries. So I have them turned off right now because we're live. I don't want a bunch of alerts, but it just helps me. So I'm looking short RTY, and y'all know I like the separation of this 8 EMA. We have the separation where that fast EMA just kind of pinballs it to the downside with that flipper. It's flipping it right now. Support 2232. And then below that is down at 2218. So even though it's bounced, it has the largest percentage because it bounced the highest. I'm still looking short RTY. YM is definitely looking weak. Honeywell had some news this morning about an offering. So overall, Dow is below these key 15-minute EMAs. And on the hourly, we're below those EMAs. So ES and NQ are actually looking a little stronger than YM and RTY. So on YM, you have resistance at 34963, 35028, support 34895, and 34801. So I did that. NASDAQ resistance 15033, 15045. I did that. ES resistance is at 4411, 4418, support 4402. And 4394. So that's our Fab 4 futures. I did that in 12 minutes. Now I got to do these other names in 10 minutes or so. But I'm going to get through them. Don't worry. And I'll try to answer a couple questions that you may have. Gold. Dan just pointed out that gold has a 15-minute falling wedge. Look at the ball being dribbled on the floor. And this is when the dribble starts kind of fading out and the bulls are doing that turn and burn. So the bears short it, the bears short it, the bears short it, and they're able to get that little lower low, and the bulls step back in. So that's when we start finding that bear exhaustion pattern, and we look to the bullish side. This is not what I was looking for last week with gold. I told you I wanted to buy it at a pullback to 1815 area. This is not what I was looking for. So now on a bounce, we're looking for a 4-hour lower high, and this would just be a counter trend flip to the long side with this falling wedge pattern. So your resistance is 1814 and 1817. Support is 1808, and below 1808 is 1800 psychological, then 1790. So I'm backing away from my gold long idea for a swing because the 4-hour, I'm looking for that lower high now. Oil, we had this big bounce up and now they're giving it back. So what's our clearest view? We have an hourly downtrend. So whatever chart you're looking at, if you want to learn TA, start on the hourly time frame and trade according to the trend. So with oil right now, that is down. So whatever name you're looking at, if you trade your shorter term trades, if you align those with the hourly time frame trend, you will find more success. Counter trend is tough trading. It's very tough trading, and it takes a mastery of discipline and patience in order to counter trend trade. Most people don't have those skill sets, and most people, those skill sets aren't strong, so it's better to stay with the trend. So on oil, your resistance 73.34, 73.42, 73.91, support 72.61 and 72.53. If we come back down into that 72.50 area, we know that's the area we were watching all last week. So if we come down into that 72.50 area, a lot of volume popped off in that area, so the bulls may defend that. So be careful with your oil shorts as we approach 72.50. Bitcoin, we just had this little hourly bear flag confirmed to the downside. We've got a little lower wick forming, a bull's buying the dip. You have support down at, I'm actually going to go to the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, we have a downtrend. You have support at 38342. Then below that, 37371. Resistance is at 39710, 39835, and 40173. I appreciate you guys asking for likes. These guys are so funny. When you get a team behind you in a community like TCG, they are ride or dies, and that's what these guys are, these moderators, and I appreciate the ride or dies. So on ETH, it's not as broken. Do you see that? We have a 4-hour EQ, where Bitcoin, we have a 4-hour downtrend. So Ethereum is definitely healthier. We have 4-hour inside bars. Support 2558, 2503, resistance 2639, 2699, AMC. For those of you in the TCG room, you know I went long. Dan posted the idea of this TCG pop on Thursday of this tightening range. I went long and then I got stopped out and I backed away from it. I don't trade AMC well. It's some type of mental block. I think with the fundamentals not matching up with the price action and all the hype and retail traders in this, which I'm a retail trader, but I just don't like trading it. And people find great success with names, but you have to know what your lane is. I preach it over and over. What's your lane? AMC is not my lane. But if it is your lane, you have resistance at 37.94, 39.19, 40.94. You have support at 36.79, 36.08. I don't have the patience. So if we have a bull break on AMC, I don't trust bulls. If we have a bull break on Amazon, I trust bulls because Amazon's an amazing company. So overall, I've got a mental block on it and it makes me not trade it well. So it doesn't mean technicals don't work. It just means I have a mental block, so I avoid it. Amazon, we had that negative earnings reaction where they sandbagged earnings, which happened a lot last week. Lots of sandbagging. My joke was Sandberg sandbagged with Facebook. That was the biggest sandbag job of the whole week last week. Billions and billions and billions of cash and just doing amazing things. Slaughtered earnings, 56% revenue, year-over-year growth. And then Facebook's like, oh, we're a little concerned about next year. Okay, come on, mouse. There you go. Don't fail me now. Resistance 33.58, 33.85, support 33.20 and 33.06. Basically, if Amazon were to approach this 33.06, 3300 area, it could be a great bottom fish level. And then I give it maybe $5. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I back away from the idea. Charter got some upgrades this morning. They had earnings on Friday. This is a beautiful bull flag. And if you look at this chart, look at this earnings bull volume, this beautiful bull candle. It'd been nice if it closed without that upper wick and been a full Maribozu candle, which means they start buying at open and they buy the entire day. You have resistance up here at the all-time high, 74931. This is part of the XLC sector and it's been doing very well. FSLR got it actually got 2 upgrades and then it had initiation of coverage with a higher price target. So I'm counting that as 3 upgrades. So on FSLR, it's got a little momentum. Your next resistance 93.03. On the hourly, your next support 85.50 and then down at 85.24. So pull back area to hourly EMAs may be a potential buy area for FSLR. So my queen of the mountain I'm sticking with is IWM to the bearish side. LI is positioned better than NEO and XBEV. So of our 3 EV names this morning that got news of inventory, so LI, NEO, and XBEV, I'm going to flip through them real quick. Okay, so XBEV's at 42.75 right up here in pre-market. Do you see how we're not getting over this key resistance of 44.42? Now I'm going to flip to NEO. Key resistance 47.38. We're not getting through it. Now watch LI. We got through it. Got through it on Friday and we're getting through it on pre-market. So LI is positioned a little bit better than those other 2 names on this inventory news that beat expectations. You have support at 34.50, 32.93 and above $35. Your next resistance is up at 36.66. NEO, you see how it's not over that key resistance. So bears will be looking to short 47.48. Their production numbers were good. So I personally have a hard time going against news. Now, if the news is weak and it's just like the chief marketing officer is being replaced, then I don't care and I'm going to trade technicals, which I always trade technicals first. But when the news is perceived to be good, would probably have a hard time shorting 47.48 on NIO. And this 45.89 didn't seem to happen on a lot of volume. So I'm going to use 45.37 as your next resistance, 46.52, then 47.38. Support is at 43.79 and way down at 41.53. NVDA. I like this squeeze. So we have this tightening pattern on NVDA. So on the 4 hour, we have this squeeze. I like this chart. We have resistance at 196.50. 198.53, 198.87, support 190.25, 187.41. Why do I like this chart? Look at the semiconductors. The semis have already broken bull because of AMD last week. This chart looks good. This was actually an almost swing report name. This chart looks very good. We got the daily change, and we basically have a double top up here. So if the bulls could bull flag out, but that sets up this NVDA name because the overarching sector is bullish as well. So I like this tightening pattern on NVDA, a pullback at all to maybe 195.62 area could be a good long. Square, they released earnings early while they announced their afterpay transaction of $29 billion. They bought the company. So usually the acquiring company goes down because they have to have outlay of cash and or a combination thereof incur debt. So in order to buy that company, they have to incur debt. So sometimes they take a hit. Their EPS was off, but their EBITDA was amazing. So I'm not going to get overly bearish. Square, I actually have a personal alert set right here. Tell me when it approaches 225.28. So your next support, 232.20 and 225.28. If we could get to the 227 area, I'd like to try a square long. So even though this chart structure is to the downside, they do have news. Overall, we had a news article this morning equating Square to the next JP Morgan of the future with this acquisition. So this could be a buying opportunity, but I want it to come down a little bit harder first. Tesla was our bull on Thursday. Booyah. Ooh, I just did Jim Cramer. Booyah. Sorry. Don't gag in your mouth. So we have resistance. The next resistance above the pre-market levels are 715.47. Tesla's my bull. I'm staying with it. This will be my focus of the day. I have calls from Friday left over. We had this squeeze. We broke bull, and we could come back to the 694.02 area, or this prior resistance could act as support on a pullback. It could be a dip buying opportunity. I like Tesla to the long side. VXRT. Oh, that's another queen of the mountain another day. Tesla, again, copying my trade from Friday. It's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. VXRT, they applied to the FDA and got accepted for their application for oral medicine for the COVID vaccine. In my opinion, this is decent news. However, I am not a doctor, but I slept at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so I'm just going to drop all my views on could or could it be big news. I'm just going to watch the volume. Volume says check. It's good news. Resistance 824, 860. Support $8, 730. Above 860, your next resistance is 930, 939. I will personally have a focus on IWM to the short side, Tesla and VXRT to the long side today. XBEV not as positioned as well as LI. 42.86 is your next resistance, then 43.02. Your supports are 42.44, 41.95, 41.92. QQQ, we are very close to the all-time high of 36889. Not as close as ES is. We are still in the fangover. We got this little tightening range. We could stay below. That's not what I wanted to do. Clear this off. We could stay below 36768 and above this 36130 and stay within this range. So we have this large range from earnings, the after Apple's earning to right before Amazon earnings. We could stay within that range for days. That would make a premium selling event, not a directional call or put event. SPY resistance. I'm going to disregard this wick that happened when the brokers opened. Resistance 44130, 44180. 44180 is your all-time high, 43777, and then 43691 and 43685. Okay, while you're on, I am going to turn these back on. Restart all inactive, and you're going to see how marked up my SPY chart is. Now I'm ready for the day. Do you see that? And if that's too noisy for you, then you do you, boo. But this helps me when I know we're coming to, and I have them all programmed. So this one is at 44155, so 25 cents before 44180. So I know we're approaching key resistance. So if I'm looking to go long, how do I use this? If I have Amazon parked at 3,300 and we're approaching the all-time high of SPY, I'm not going to go long Amazon when we could be running into resistance. Y'all know what happened. What was that last Wednesday? We had those daily YM bars, which I should have already mentioned. But YM had these daily inside bars. We'd break them by a few dollars, break them by a few dollars, break resistance by a few dollars, and we still stayed within this range. And that marked the top of the market when we kept hitting those higher levels. So these 4 key markets, I want to know where we are and where we stand, and that's why all of these alerts help me. All right. What do you have for me? Okay, so pivot point standards. So here you go. You're not going to get them. You have to do a little work. So inputs, I changed the inputs on pivots high low to 3 and 3. I like to see more. You can do 5 and 5 if you want to see less of these higher high, higher low, lower high numbers. Style, I changed the text to white and I changed the background to black. You have to change the background to whatever your black background is and change the text color, and I changed the size to 16 because I'm slightly over 40 and I need to see it a little bigger. So you have to do the work on the pivot numbers. Shop. Hey P Court, thank you for being here. Neil, thanks for cheerleading. Okay, D-Dog got an upgrade this morning, so know that. Shop had an offering, so know that. But Shop looks like a little bit of a falling wedge, meaning the ball is bouncing, getting a little bitty lower lows with very little follow through. Key resistance 1529.87. That means the bulls are trying to take back over that chart. Key support 1490. D-Dog, I like that upgrade they got, and the overall chart looks good. They have earnings this week. And they have a TTM squeeze. So they have earnings Thursday, got that new all-time high with a disgusting upper wick of profit taking. But let's see if the upgrade can help them today. 114.20, bears will be looking to top fish. And I would love to bottom fish this level of 110.46, like around 110.50, 111 could be a good bottom fish opportunity. You're welcome, UPS, and that'll be the last one. Then I'm going to go listen to Charting Man Dan go live. UPS looks like a falling wedge again. You see how we're getting these lower lows with very little follow through. They had earnings and got dumped. Your key resistance 192.64, then 194.49 support, 190.92, 188.32. Last one. I don't know if you meant Neo, but I'm going to go with it. Genomics, all right. Daily squeeze. Earnings Friday, we're running into the 200 MA. I don't like that. I don't like when our key moving averages are overhead. 47.41 is the level to get through on genomics. Your level from Friday, 45.91 and 45.42. Okay, one more. And then we've got 2 minutes to Dan. Twitter looks poised to go higher. It got the earnings out of the way. We have a squeeze. We have an inside bar that just kind of got a little dribble. So I would say above 71.92 is your key resistance on Twitter to get the next leg up. And that's it for me. Cookies for everybody. Please use stop losses, TCGers. I'll see you in the room. Pre-gamers that aren't TCGers, why not? And pre-gamers, I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.